Three.
It's time for a wake up call. It's time for a wake up call.
It's time for your wake up call. Wake up the passion and God's purpose in you. In the Wake Up Call radio show. Join host Pastor Warren and Annie Sally and their guests for a powerful dialogue. Real talk for everyone. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Welcome to the Wake Up Call Talk Show. I'm Annie Sally. Well, today we have a special theme. It's my story. And I have a very special guest, Melita Curtis. Would you please help me welcome Melita Curtis to the Wake Up Call Talk Show? Welcome, Melita.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing
We're
tonight? Can you hear me?
awesome. Yes,
Okay.
yes, very well. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go into our show. So, guys, please go ahead, invite your family and your friends. Let them know the Wake Up Call Talk Show is on. We'll be right back. Okay. All right. All right. Well, Melita, it's a pleasure to have you here with us on tonight. Unfortunately, you have endured significant amount of trauma. Um, but the thing about it is that you survived it and you're here to share your story. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here and to share your transparency as to the trauma that you endured. So tell our listeners, why is it important to you, first of all, to share your story?
Um, it's important for me to share my stories because when we go through things in life, um, God tells us that the way that we get through by our testimony. And so it's important for me to share my story and let people out there know that whatever you're going through in life, um, with God, you can get through anything, no matter what it is. Anything's possible with God.
Awesome, awesome. That is certainly true. You overcome by the words of your testimony. So, yes. So let's talk a little bit about your testimony. Start there. Start there. Talk about the relationship with your ex and how your relationship led into the traumatic ordeal that you faced.
Okay, so about 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago, June 1st was made 5 years. I um, was, well, prior to that 5 years, I was in a relationship for about 5 years prior to the incident.
Okay.
And I was in a relationship with my daughter's father, and he was abusive, but not abusive. So in the beginning, it was, a lot of fun time and things like that. And then it was little things that he would do, like if I were go out too long, or if I spent too much time with my family, um, just trying to control everything that I did, talking on the phone, going to see my friends and things like that. It just got worse and worse over time. And so I finally decided that I was tired, and I was getting ready to leave. But then I found out I was pregnant. So I decided to try to make it work because I didn't want my daughter to grow up without both parents in the home. So I tried to make
Right.
it work. Um, but it didn't work. work. It only got worse, and I ended up finding out that he was on drugs and things like that. So the violence got more intense. And so when my daughter was about 15 months old, I was in nursing school and I was out late trying to finish a project at one of my friend's house. And it was really late in the morning of June, well, the morning of May 30th, 31st. I was at my friend's house doing a project and came home. It was like 2:45 in the morning. And then that's when I walked in. Well, I didn't even walk in my home. I drove in the driveway and I looked. Well, I opened the door and I smelled gasoline. That's how strong it was.
Wow.
And so I stood at the car. And when I was at the car, he was standing inside the doorway. And he said, "You're going to come in the house?" And I was like, "No way. I smell gas. You're trying to kill me. I'm not going in the house." And so he came to the car and I said again, "You're trying to kill me. I'm not going in there." And then he made the comment, "Well, if I wanted to kill you, I'd just snap your neck right here." And so he grabbed me by the hand and basically drugged me into the house. And so when we walked in the house, the floor was doused, drenched with gasoline. And he pulled me to the kitchen area. And when he pulled me to the kitchen area, I saw the gas can sitting right at the kitchen, in the middle of the kitchen, in between the refrigerator and the microwave. And so I was like, thinking to myself, "Oh Lord, I'm about to die here." And then he had a lighter in his hand and he picked up the gas can and doused my leg, and then he lit the lighter, and so I went up in flames. And I remember trying to run out the back door because it had carpet, so I was thinking he didn't douse all that. So if I could get to this back door, I can get out this door and I could put myself out. But when I tried to reach the back door, he stopped me with his hand and wouldn't let me get out. So I remember thinking like, okay, I have to get out of this house or I'm gonna die. And so when I cowered in the corner for 1 second. It seemed like eternity, but I was just like, "Jesus," and I called on Jesus 3 times. I said, "Jesus, Jesus, please help me." And that gave me the strength to get ready to run out the front door, which we walked in, which was already so slippery. But I was like, "I'm going to get through this door." And that's when he grabbed me with the other hand and pulled me to the sink, and he put me out with the spigot from the sink. And then once I was out, he asked me, "Well, what are we going to do? You're going to tell on me?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to tell on you." I said, "But we have to get me to Grady." And I told him we don't have time for an ambulance because I was already a nurse. I was LPN at the time. And so I know you only have a matter of minutes, before your airway closes.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that, I was burnt from my face down, from my nose down, 3rd-degree burns. But he ended up, I talked him into like getting in the car. I was like, "You're going to drive me to Grady." So we got in the car and he drove me to Grady. And I remember waking up 14 days later. I was in a coma for 14 days, a medically induced coma. And I woke up 14 days later, but I'm here now, so to tell my story.
Awesome. Oh, wow. What an ordeal. Let's back up a little bit. You talked about some of the signs. There were signs. You said he was abusive. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he abusive, mentally or physically, emotionally or physically, or both?
All the above.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So all the above. And this relationship lasts how long?
Uh, it's about 5 years. Yeah.
About 5 years.
Hmm.
Melita, talk to our listeners and our viewers. Give them some of your insight and your experience as to the signs and what to look for, in
Well,
a relationship.
the number one sign is if anybody's trying to know your every whereabout and everything that you do
Mhm.
on a time schedule, it's a red flag.
Mm.
Anybody that has to know who you're talking to at all times is a red flag. Trying to control your your money, checking your bank account, um, checking your phone, going through your phones, checking your phones, and questioning you about who you spending time with, who your fam, why are you spending too much time with your family, and things like that. Those are all red flags. And um, but most importantly, that phone. The phone was the problem. Blowing my phone up 50 times a day is a big red flag. And that's what happened that night that I was out doing my project. He had blew my phone up maybe 52 times,
Wow.
but I didn't think anything of it because I was like, I'm on the way. And I knew, like, but I didn't think that it would be that detrimental. Like, he was going to try to kill me. I didn't think that. I just, thought, like, oh, well, he's just trying to make sure I'm going to make it home. But yeah, 52 times is a bit drastic.
That's extreme.
And if somebody's not answering you one or two times, it would be healthy just to try them again later. Like, don't keep blowing the phone up because that's definitely was my biggest red flag. That and then just being jealous, trying to control my money, how I spent my money, um, how long I talked to my family on the phone, or even if I wanted to go see my family, I had to come home. I couldn't spend a night, things like that.
Wow. Wow. What an ordeal. Talk a little bit about what it was like to actually be in that relationship, being that he was overpowering, he was jealous, he kept you away from your family. Talk about the emotional roller coaster that must have been like.
Yeah, it was a very toxic relationship looking back, but being in it, you only thinking of, it sounds strange, but survival. Like, so you're trying to, because they make you feel like it's your fault. For
Mhm.
everything that you do, they make you feel like it's your fault, or you're not spending enough time with them, or and they make it all about them, and you are the bad person. And so you are in this relationship trying to please this person, which you will never please. You can never please a narcissist because that's what it really was. He was a narcissist. You can never please a narcissist, and nothing you ever do will be good enough, or um, yeah, nothing you ever do will be good enough for them, and there will always be something wrong. And so emotionally, I was drained. I was tired. I wanted to get out, but there was threats, on my family, threats, just all types of threats and things that, you know, um, he just did a lot of threats, a lot of blank threats. So I thought, but he had mentioned that he would burn the house down before, with all of us in it, and I guess I took it for granted. I didn't take it lightly. I didn't
Mm.
take him, for his word. But believe people when they say they're gonna do something,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to believe them. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it as a joke. Take it as a sign. And I did. I was. He knew that I was trying to leave,
Mhm.
and I always tell people that you're in the most danger when you're trying to leave. Once you've made up your mind that it's over and you're going to leave, you're in the most danger of your life at that point, because they're going to do everything in their power, because they know that they're losing that power that they had over you, and they're losing that. So they're going to do everything in their power to keep you in that cycle of abuse.
You're right.
So
So did you share with him that you were getting ready to leave?
I had spoken of it,
Mm,
but I didn't necessarily. I had spoken of it in the past, but I didn't actually say, "Well, I'm leaving you," or "you," because he was in my home. So it was
okay.
not like I could leave. It was
Okay.
just that I wanted to get rid of him. So I was
Mm,
strategically trying to get rid of him and send him, back with his family,
okay.
where we're from.
Okay. All right. Um, Thank you to all of our online viewers for being a part of the show. Go ahead and share with your family and friends. Melita has a powerful testimony, and it's going to bless many people. So please go ahead and share the show, and we'll be right back after this break.
Uh-oh. Sorry, my phone's about to die.
Yeah, I'm losing you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And you're back. Thank you all for staying with us. We are actually back talking with Melita Curtis, who's an RN, and she's sharing her story about her ordeal with her ex and being set on fire by him. Now, our listeners and viewers are asking, did he serve any time? Did you press charges?
Yes, he's currently doing life in prison, with
Okay.
the possibility of parole. So he is not even eligible until he's about 70 years old.
Okay. All right. So, talk about your healing process, your physical as well as your mental healing. Let's start with the physical process. Now, you said you were in a medically induced coma for 14 days. Talk about the process of healing from that coma to the present time. You said it's been 5 years, so it's fairly pretty new. So, talk about that healing process.
Well, miraculously, because our God is good, I was in a coma for 14 days. They told my mother that I possibly would have had to have multiple surgeries, but as God would have it, only had to have one. Although I had third-degree burns over, I think 40% of my body, and but they also told her at the beginning that it didn't look good, that I possibly would not make it, but as God would have it, I'm here. So I stayed in the hospital a total of 21 days. Um, and I look at those as, divisible by sevens, and God says complete. And so God completed me in 21 days. I It took about a year for all my wounds to heal. Um, but I really feel like I was healed that before I even ever left Grady, the hospital. And emotionally, I'm still healing, because it's anytime you deal with trauma, is if you haven't been through it, it's it's hard to explain. A lot of people don't understand. Um, what trauma does to you, but it doesn't just affect your it didn't affect me physically. I would say mentally it's the hardest. It's been the hardest to get through. And a lot of it is because I kind of, blame myself, like why, along with other people. See, people don't understand how damaging it is to blame the victim, when they don't understand the whole dynamic of domestic violence. But between other people and me beating my own self up, and like why you didn't leave sooner, or um, why didn't you just put him out, or things of that nature. It's just been a long road, and I would say I'm still healing, mentally. And I went through counseling and things like that, um, and I probably should still be in counseling. But I just go and I just you know try to enjoy the life that, um, God has blessed me with since the incident.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a struggle sometimes, but for the most part, I'm doing well.
Well, quite naturally, it's a struggle. Talk a little bit more, help our listeners and viewers understand the emotional journey. You talked a little bit about being in counseling and needing to be back in counseling. Talk about your diagnosis and also talk about your treatments, your triggers, and your coping skills. Okay, so let's talk about the diagnosis first. Were you diagnosed with any type of anxiety disorder?
No, actually, I wasn't, but I do feel like I do suffer from post traumatic stress. My triggers are if anybody calls me more than one time,
Mhm.
I'm irritated. Or if somebody's like maybe even suggesting or trying to tell me what to do, or it could be just as simple as suggestion, but it's the tone or the manner that it's in that will like trigger me, and I'm just like, no. But I mean, I think that's a good thing, though. Actually, maybe. Um, but no, no one ever diagnosed me with anything. But I do know it took me. I am an RN now, thank God. Finally passed my test on March 21st, 2001.
Congratulations.
Um, but it took me 3 years from the time that I graduated. I graduated in 2017, and I remember my best friend, I love her to death, but she didn't realize that she was like, "Oh, Lita, you're just not studying," and it is way bigger than that. I couldn't focus. I I would find myself just crying out of the blue.
Mhm.
Um, um, I couldn't even focus to study, or I couldn't
Yeah.
concentrate. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, am I not smart enough anymore? Or, just beating myself up in that. So I was so thankful that, I finally passed that test, because I felt like that was a hold on me as well, because that was what I was trying to do before all this happened. And it was just like, I still didn't have it. Everything that I worked so hard for, I still didn't have it. And I still don't have my license. But it's just the enemy attacking me still. But God is good, and He's faithful to me, and I will have my license. Because I graduated 3 years prior, and it took me to 2021 to um, get to pass that test. So Georgia will not give me my license. So I'm having to go through another state, but I will have my license. God is my witness. I'm gonna have my license hopefully by August.
All right, all right. We're rooting for you. Thank God that this incident did not define who you are as a person. I thank God for the grace and His mercies that kept you during this ordeal, and He's helped you to get back on track. You're going back to well, you've already done it, and you're just waiting on your license. But thank God that this did not define you. And I hope our listeners and our viewers get that. Don't let anyone define who you are as a person. Delayed but not denied. Oftentimes, things will sideswipe us, but then with the grace of God, we can get back up and move on. And it's a struggle, and surely it would be a struggle with the severity of your trauma. However, it is the grace of God and your will to continue to move forward. That's why you're moving forward. And I'm so grateful, and I applaud you, and our viewers are applauding you as well. And we will continue to lift you up, because we know that it's a struggle. It's a journey that you're on. And you talked about the mental illness. You talked about some of the triggers. What are your coping skills? When someone's been traumatized and there are triggers, then you have to place within yourself some coping skills. And the fact that you did not go into counseling, I'm sure that you have figured out some coping skills for yourself. When I went through depression after my mom's death, I had to find some coping skills, something to do to offset missing her or the grief process. So what are your coping skills or techniques? What have you learned about yourself that you can internalize to say, okay, Melita, because this trigger has happened or happening to you, you need to do what? So what do you do to offset those triggers?
Oh, well, now I learned to say no.
Okay. That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned, and because I used to care, and I still care a lot. So don't get me wrong. I used to care so much that I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, and I didn't want to, if I could do it, it was in my power. Even if I didn't want to, I would do it. But now it's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. So I feel like that's growth within me, and it's healthy, as well. And then I also am able to pick up on things that I used to would never pick up on because of what I've been through, and I can see it coming from a mile away. So that was a blessing, and I wanted people to understand that everything that we go through in life, don't count it out. Don't say that, oh, woe is me, or wow, why did this happen? Don't ask those questions. Just find it in yourself to be grateful. I am grateful, although I am burned and I have the scars, and I will always be reminded of what happened to me. But I am grateful that I've grown through this, and I can share this with my daughter and let her know, like, okay, no, that guy blowing your phone up. You don't need to even talk to him. You put him on the block list, change your number. I'm able to say those things, like, we don't think it's cute if he's calling you, or it's not cute. It's actually sickening. At the end of the day, it's sick and something's wrong. And it's, so, but also, like, I think too that I'm able to talk to God more. And I was, I prayed and all those things, but now I'm just close to God. It drew me closer to God, especially when I was in the coma. It was like I had experiences with God, and it just, that drew me. And maybe that was the thing that I needed to save my life for heaven. I don't know, but I know that I went through it, and God brought me through it, and I'm blessed to have gone through it. And I can actually look at it as that. I don't, I have people like, other people that don't understand. Oh, why don't you cover up? Or why don't you? I'm like, these are scars. These are my war wounds. These are
Okay.
my scars that God done brought me through, and I can show you and I can tell you that you could get through anything.
Wow.
If I can get through being set on fire, burned alive, then we can get through anything. It don't matter what it is.
Wow. Thank you so much for your transparency. How has this altered your life? How has it altered your life? Now, you mentioned the 30 degrees burn, you know, different parts of your body. How has it altered your life mentally and physically?
Um, I don't think it altered my life. The funny thing about it is I judged myself and I keyed in on all my flaws
Mm,
prior to being set on fire, and now it's like I embrace myself. So
mm,
it's almost like, wow, I used to say, oh, I wasn't pretty enough or this and that. And now I can look and say, well, I look back at my old pictures and say, Melita, you are crazy. You are beautiful. You are
okay.
pretty. Why did you beat yourself up? And now it's like, now I have these scars. And so, of course, now I have these scars and I look at them every day. I mean, they're not the greatest, but a lot of times I get from people, my arm is burned the most that you can actually see, and then my chest area. But most people are like, oh, is that a tattoo? So it's like almost like I don't know if they're thinking it's a tattoo or they don't want to offend me and say what happened or what. But I've gotten a lot of most times that, oh, it looks like a tattoo, and then like no, it's not a tattoo, it's skin graft. But I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize. So even in that, I feel like God is protecting me in that. Like when people look at me, they don't see burn Melita, I guess, so to speak, but they just see me. You
Okay.
know.
Okay. Well, talk about dating in the present. How is dating now that you've been through all that you've been through? Plus, you have a level of guard up, and
Oh yeah.
you have a lot of experience. Talk about that.
Well, I'm not dating, and I haven't dated since it happened. But I do have guards up, but no one's approached me enough to say to like for me to even like show those guards or anything like that.
Oh,
But I'm not. I'm okay. I have a vibrant 6 year old. She keeps me busy.
oh
So
wow.
whatever, if the Lord send me somebody, He will definitely have to find me because I'm busy. I'm
Oh,
working and taking care of that 6 year old.
okay. So, when will you have that conversation with your daughter about her father? Will you have that
Well,
conversation? And when will you have that conversation?
well, so my mother has already, because she was hurting, so she's
Mhm.
already put that on my daughter, and so my daughter basically knows what happened.
Okay.
She'll ask me things, and I'll say, "Well, me and mommy, um, mommy will have this conversation. We'll sit down and we'll have a long conversation when you're old enough and you can understand what
Right.
happened." I was like, right now, yes, what Grandma said is somewhat true, but she's a child. She loves her dad, and I'm not gonna take that away from her. That's the other half of her.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna do that to her. But I did say that maybe around 9 or 10, we would sit down and have a serious conversation about what happened, and we'll discuss her feelings about how she feels about it and things of that nature. But I want her to be able to fully understand what happened in not a judgmental type way, and to make her own decision about where to go from there.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I say thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on and being such um, an encouragement to so many because your story is important. and you help others as you tell your story, and you're helping yourself to heal as you're telling your story. So that's important. We're going to come back, and I want to talk about your support. Your support. Where's your support coming from? Also, I want to talk about what's next for you. So let's go to break. We have some information we would like to share. We have another special guest coming on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Here's a snip of her testimony.
Hi, my name is Valerie L. Williams, and I want to invite you to meet me at the Wake Up Call show on July 18th at 7 o'clock p.m. I'm going to share with you my story, my testimony of being shot 3 times with a .38 Smith & Wesson. You have to come to the show and tune in order to get all the details. But I promise you it's going to be a testimony of faith, a testimony of overcoming, a testimony of fear, a testimony of unforgiveness and forgiveness, a testimony of love, a testimony of joy, a testimony of miraculous powers by the one and only Almighty God. And I just want to join you, and I promise you will not leave the same. Your faith will go to another level. This journey that I've been on, this journey that God took me on in my brokenness, in my healing, in my restoration, it has truly been amazing. And I'm going to share that with you, how 20 minutes, just 20 minutes of my life changed my entire life. That unexpected change that happens when you just you don't expect it. It comes out of nowhere. You know, when they say that life happens, that's true. Life does happen. But we have the power and we have what it takes to get up and get past being a victim, get past being a survivor. And I want to share with you how I became an overcomer, how I live beyond what has happened to me. And I want to encourage you to live beyond what has happened to you. So I will see you there on the Wake Up Call show on July 18th at 7 o'clock p.m.
Wake Up Call radio show. Join host Pastor Warren and Annie Sally and their guests for a powerful dialogue. Real talk for everyone. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
With It's My Story, special guest, Melita Curtis. Melita, again, thank you so much for being a part of It's My Story. What a powerful testimony. What a powerful testimony. Talk about what's next for you. What's next for Melita? I mean, I find you just so courageous.
Well, I'm hoping to get back in school because I would like to be a nurse practitioner, and I would like to open up my own mobile clinic.
Okay.
So I can give back to those less fortunate and, keep our community healthy.
And get back on your path, your educational path. That's awesome. Fulfilling your dreams. Our stories become a resource for encouragement for others. So please continue, Melita, to share your story. And those of you that are out there that are listening, that are sharing the show, if you have a story you would love to share on the Wake Up Call Network, please email me at annie.sally50@gmail.com. Please email me or inbox me, and let's get you on the show because your story is very powerful and it's an encouragement to others. So thank you there for sharing your testimony. And how can our listeners and viewers connect with you? Because I know that you would like to do more advocacy type of ministry. You love helping people. You're an RN. You're seeking to be a practitioner. You're a great speaker. How can our listeners and viewers connect with you?
Oh, well, thank you. Um, well, I don't really have any. I have, Facebook, of course, and it's just Melita Curtis. But I don't really have any platforms actually. I have an Instagram. I don't even know what it is. So, but Facebook is normally where I'm on most often.
Okay.
Um, and then I mean, if somebody is needs to seek me an email, it's Miss MS Curtis, which is my last name, 123 at Gmail. So if anybody's out there that's, feeling like they can't get out or they're at their lowest point, shoot me an email. I can help encourage you. I don't want you to leave on your own. You need help and you need support. Where it's that concern, you don't want to leave by yourself because you're in danger if you're out there and you're in a domestic situation. But if you just need to be encouraged, because I love to encourage any and everybody. If you're going to school, if you're trying to get in school, whatever you're trying to do, I am your number one girl. I will encourage you to do whatever it is. You shoot for the stars and beyond, and whatever
Mhm.
you can do, all things are possible. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me," and that is
Yes.
the truth.
Amen. Amen. Well, we have a lot of viewers here and listeners sharing their comment. Amazing story. Thanks for sharing. Um, they're blessed by your testimony. Valerie says, thanks for sharing. She would definitely love to contact and connect with you. Valerie will be on tomorrow night at 7. So she would love
Okay,
to contact you and connect with you. Um, yeah. Is there a book coming? Someone is asking, is there a book coming in the future?
possibly. The Lord will have to lead me there, but I think it's coming. But He's gonna have to write the. He's written by.
Well, he will
Whenever He's
definitely.
ready to write that book.
Mhm. You definitely have a testimony. He will definitely lead and guide and direct you. Again, I say thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of the Wake Up Call Talk Show. The theme, it's my story. Melita, any last minute thoughts before we close out?
Um, well, I just thank you for presenting the opportunity for me to come on your show and tell my testimony. And I just want the greatest thing in life is love. And when we love our brothers and sisters, that's healing in itself. So no
Okay.
matter what happens to us, if you can find it in your heart to forgive, for one, which I've forgiven my daughter's father, um, and I learned to love myself in the process, which was just an extra token for me because I did neglect who I was myself. But
Mm,
love cures all things, and
mm.
God tells us that in His Word. So spread love, and we're gonna be all right.
All right. All right. Is there a support system in
Oh yes,
place for you?
definitely. My family was my biggest support, and my friends. And then Sisters Empowerment, Vita Brown. I used to have a support group through her organization, and she was
Mhm.
really helpful. And just being there as a friend and being there able to listen, a listening ear. But my family was my biggest support.
That's good. That's good. Well, again, thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the show. We will definitely have to have you back to continue to share your story. So, God bless you throughout all of your endeavors, and we thank God for you. And to our
Thank you.
listeners and our viewers, thank you so very much for sharing the show. And thank you for supporting the Wake Up Call Network. You can take us with you every day wherever you go. You can listen to the Wake Up Call radio and television platform on 15 radio stations. So go ahead and just Google Wake Up Call Radio and Television and take us with you. We have some dynamic shows and great speakers on our platform. We're here to encourage, empower you along your journey. So God bless you all. And remember, this has been your wake up call.
Well, thank you.